So good morning, friends. Hearty welcome to the next edition of the VDMA CEO's Thought Leadership Series. And today we have Mr. Ratan Mohapatra, MD of KSPG India with us. A hearty welcome to you, Ratan, and thank you for being with us today on this show. Friends, Mr. Mohapatra is a mechanical engineer from the prestigious National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, and carries a rich industrial experience of 35 years, holding leadership positions in various multinational automotive, auto components, and precision engineering industries like Hindustan Motors, Daewoo Motors, Eaton Corporation, Parker Hannifin, and is now with KSPG India. He joined KSPG Automotive India in 2013 as the managing director. And friends, under his leadership, the organization has experienced a paradigm shift in sales growth from almost 280 crores in 2013 to reaching 940 crores in 2021, with a CAGR of higher than 19% year on year. So hearty welcome to you, Ratan, and a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Rajesh. It's a pleasure for me too.
Right. Ratan, if you look at the scenario in the last few months, we had the first lockdown last year, and then we had the second lockdown this year. So basically, movement of man and material was badly hampered, impacted during this period. Now, how did KSPG cater to the needs of its customers under these restraints where movement was constrained, Ratan?
Well, a great question for me to deliberate. KSPG was well prepared in anticipation that we are going to shut down. We had already seen that happening in China. And the first step that we took was preparing for virtual office. So we had our infrastructure tested out, our folks trained. All employees were trained how to work out from home in case a shutdown happened. And when it really happened, we quickly formed a Corona Action Team. The paramount interest of the management was the health and well-being of our employees and the business continuity. Engagement with our headquarters, industry bodies such as CII, Indo-German Chamber of Commerce, the 𝐂𝐿𝐴CMA, the Maratha Chamber of Commerce was critical to coordinate activities for reopening with safeguards. So we quickly set up a SOP for securing the reopening of the plant. The urgency was to get our manpower, the shop manpower back on duty. Under the prevailing conditions, many of them had left for their hometown, and others were too scared to come back to work. The leadership shown by our staff to resume the production operations speaks of the aspiration of the people to get back to normal. Our staff rolled up their sleeves and entered the plant to support the resumption of production. And hence, the motivation was key. And this was ensured through active communication, through virtual meetings, and phone apps were critical in reaching out to all our friends. We set up also an in-plant dormitory to bring in people and keep them inside to secure our production. Though India was under shutdown, our export customers were continuing for production, and it was critical for us to service them. And this is how we, maintained our business continuity and got back our people. It was necessary to learn and adapt on the go because none of these had any, preparation or any kind of knowledge that could have supported this kind of business discontinuity.
Right. So I think the management also played quite a proactive role, Ratan, during this period.
Absolutely. We were in touch with all our employees on a very periodic basis. The senior leadership was in continuous communication on a daily basis, multiple times. And, networking with the industry bodies was critical because the government SOPs were not formed. So we had to know how and where the government was driving in order to confirm and secure reopening of the country.
Right, right. Ratan, KSPG India is also, as an organization, is a good example of combination of German culture, the global mindset, and Indian flexibility. Maybe I think for the benefit of our audience, if you could elaborate on that and also tell us a little bit what are the plans of KSPG in India for the future, Ratan?
The plant here, Rajesh, is a foundation of German engineering. This was set up by expats coming into India to have the German engineering uncompromised, to give the same level of engineering and quality to our customers as we give around the world. So, having set up the plant, it was important for us to set up the mindset so that the know-how transfer happens and we work in the same manner as our German and European counterparts work in the setting up the foundation of precision and trust and reliability for our customers. The matrix organization that we have enables close cooperation and building on the foundation already laid. So we are in continuous touch with the matrix organization in Germany in order to have a continuous focus that we are not deviating from the standards. The first decade has been in internalizing these learnings. The next steps are to develop India-specific products, keeping the sacred core of German reliability in the engineering and frugal Indian mindset for the price. We see that the regulatory norms in India is gathering pace, as India is looking forward to clean up its air, as we have seen the BS6 norms, the similar norms in the off-highway, which is called TREM. We have for fuel efficiency norms, the CAFE norms, and we are well poised to partner with OEMs to provide tailored solutions to them. KSPG Automotive is also poised to enter the industrial and home air purifier market by bringing in cutting-edge technology. This is especially relevant today to ensure the health of elders and children in particular, and other susceptible populations such as asthmatics, comorbids in general. So we have brought in the latest of technology to clean up the air in your work atmosphere, in your home, so that you do not have fear of PM, that is particulate matter 2.5, or viruses and bacteria lingering in your home or workplace.
And going in the future, Ratan, is KSPG going to increase its product portfolio also in India?
Absolutely, Rajesh, as we have been talking and you have been telling about the e-mobility, which is now certain, and look at the pace at which e-mobility is being talked about. I'm sure our viewers would remember yesterday a plant of Ola was inaugurated, and the pace is the pace is becoming faster and faster to move from IC engines to e-mobility. KSPG Automotive and our parent Rheinmetall, we are very passionate about technology, and we would keeping in touch with the pace that is gathering for e-mobility. So the growth has always been driven by legislation on emissions. And as we see, a host of technologies are evolving vis-a-vis future mobility, be it lithium-ion, fuel cell, hydrogen, or any other future emerging mobility technology. KSPG is ready to partner with OEMs to tailor-make components suiting these emerging technologies. So we are there.
Right, right. And Ratan, how in your perception, the speed of e-mobility in India, what if you would share your experience and your views? Are we at the right pace as we should be going, or more could be done in the field of e-mobility, Ratan?
Rajesh, I think, living in a democratic world, I mean, I can speak as an investor on IC engines because we just made an invest on IC engines for the BS6 and the CAFE. So if I were to talk as the managing director of KSPG, I would say let the pace be slower because we need to recover costs we have sunk in. However, if I were to look at my environment and I look at my children and future generations suffering from the emissions and the climate change, I would speak differently that we need a much faster pace. However, as I said, the government has to do its bit of facilitating the change, and the people have to make a choice. So my personal thinking is this cannot be driven by the government alone. It has to be driven by the government in terms of facilitating the change and in terms of people wanting to buy the change, and not by economy alone. Any new technology that comes in the beginning is going to be expensive. And later on, as we gather volumes, the prices fall. So again, coming back, we have to make a choice as individuals. Are we going to facilitate the pace, or are we going to let the government determine the pace?
Right, right. I think very good, good views on this. Very nicely put, also, Ratan. Ratan, now, if you look at, of course, KSPG being a engineering company, a technology-driven company, in your opinion, innovation. When we look at innovation, Ratan, does it happen only in R&D labs, or do you also believe that innovation can come at the shop floor level also? And what is KSPG doing to foster innovation, even internally among its colleagues, the spirit of innovation?
Excellent question, Rajesh. And my background is operational excellence and business excellence. So you know my answer would be that innovation is not only coming from the R&D labs, but there is a lot of innovation happening in the shop floor. And we are keenly focused on a process-oriented approach, knowing that German technology needs to be reliable. So we are being also in the automotive, we are very keen on a process foundation. Business excellence is a personal passion of mine, and our team is committed to this. We focused on learning and incubating a change mindset in the past 5 years. As on date, we have developed a team of 20 Six Sigma experts, 23 problem-solving experts who do problem-solving on a practiced methodology, and then we have 2 lean practitioners. The India plant is amongst the leading plants within the group in problem-solving and shop floor innovation. In an average, there are 45 projects running concurrently, which, when completed, realize considerable savings for the organization, facilitating debottlenecking, facilitating productivity, and also saving considerable money for the organization. We at KSPG nurture such innovation through education, coaching, engagement, and rewards.
Also, Ratan, coming to, if we look at the Indian scenario, especially during the pandemic, now the government came out with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. It is to make India self-reliant, to increase production in India, productivity in India. So, if you would share, Ratan, what is the level of localization presently at KSPG India? And going ahead, do you think there would be more local sourcing in India per se for KSPG?
Yeah, again, a great question, Rajesh. And as you know, we are in a world of very complex supply chain.
Right.
It is never out of choice any manufacturer who wants to add complexity by importing parts. And in the last few months, it has been ever more complex than I have ever seen it in the last 30 years of my industry presence. Be it a part of the world closing down due to the pandemic, be it then cascading bottlenecks due to non-availability of ships, jams in airports, non-availability of shipping containers. So this sheer complexity never, I mean, we are thinking quite differently that we do not need such complex supply chain. Unfortunately, there are no alternatives as today. I mean, we would understand that there are pockets in the world which manufacture for, say, computer chips. And there are, pockets in the world which are back office manufacturers to the whole world. And that's the reality today. We cannot get away from it. If I were to make a wish, then my wish would be, yeah, can I buy it next door? That gives me so much more control and so much more predictability. And also, from the perspective of money that is locked up in inventories, when such logjams happen, and the time that it takes to get away from the logjam can only happen when you have local for local. This is what we firmly believe in, local for local. But again, the reality is you cannot have a local for local today. It's just not possible because you need to go to these pockets in the world where, which are the back manufacturers of these products. And till such a team, I'm sure the world is looking at a new paradigm today. And the old paradigms of sourcing globally will be, I don't know whether it is going to be China +1, China +2, China +3, but the current paradigms are no more sustainable in these complexities and this VUCA atmosphere.
Right. So that means also, Ratan, would you be trying to develop more vendors for local sourcing here in India?
We have been continually adding our localization in India. So every year, and we do have a 2 or 3 years, naturally in the automotive world, you need to go through a series of validation, acceptances. So we need a period between 3 to 5 years to decide on localization. So and develop our vendors to have that sort of capability. Over the last decade, we have been continually looking at new vendors and developing them along with us. So we continue to walk that path. And again, it's my personal wish. I wish that the pace becomes more and more fast.
Right, right. In fact, Ratan, you mentioned about VUCA world, and I think it was in the last 1.5 years we really understood the U in VUCA world of the uncertainty factor. I think that has really hit all the businesses. And especially, Ratan, this has been quite a taxing, challenging period for the CEOs and the leaders. How would you maintain? You mentioned about safety of your employees, safety of the customers. On the other hand, business also has to continue. So it was quite a complex situation for the leaders to really navigate their boat in this period of uncertainty and unpredictability. So my last question to you, Ratan, today is if you could share 3 tips from your side. I think this would be very beneficial for our CEOs who would also be viewing this. How can leaders really navigate their companies in this period of uncertainty and unpredictability?
Sure, Rajesh. But before I get into this, I have to congratulate the CEOs. It's been extremely tough last year when we go into the reopening of the business and we don't know how many people are going to come in. Then when they fall sick, when there are no beds, there are no oxygens, then and you start hearing that some people are losing their near and dear ones, and you are not in a position to help, that kind of uncertainty, and all of us have pulled through that. So I think all of the CEOs deserve a round of applause for doing a great job through the last year. Now, coming back to the VUCA world, what I feel are the 3 learnings are number 1, flexibility and agility, because nothing can be anticipated. Nothing that is taught in a business school that you can prepare in advance. So you have to be flexible and agile to adapt and adjust to the situation. So we were demonstrating this throughout the last 1 year and continuing to do so, that we cannot be rigid about any of the paradigms that we had set as policies during a normal time. So that's the first one, that be flexible and be agile to quickly change the continuing the paradigm. What was relevant yesterday will not be relevant today. The next, I would say, is learning and adaptation. Be prepared to learn. We were learning on the go, kept on changing SOPs, enforcing the same, and one of the paradigms or the takeaways of my friends in Europe and America is Indians are not very disciplined. And that was always in the back of my mind, that they would not adapt to the either a safe distance or putting on the mask. But it is amazing to learn, Rajesh, that Indians are much more sincere and disciplined than we ever thought. All that we need is to convince them that this is the, we need to do this in order to protect ourselves. And our team has always learned and adapted on the go. And this has been an amazing experience, that we are much more sincere and disciplined than what others think. And when I now see that it is very difficult to enforce it in our Western countries, then I say, hey, we have been unduly unjust to ourselves, saying that we are not very sincere and disciplined. The third one is networking and organization. We have to realize that, Rajesh, that we are not alone. Everybody else is undergoing the same. So it is necessary for us to, for example, reopening, and we are not in an MIDC area. So it was necessary for us to network within the industry bodies, within the governments, within our neighbors, to know what's going on, what's needed to be done. Copy unabashedly that we don't need to, invent an SOP. So as much as we get connected, we learn, quickly adapt those practices and change. The last but not the least is aim to survive for the day. Don't think about midterm and long term. Wait till we stabilize. Just survive the day.
Right. Thank you. I think, Ratan, very good tips. If I would just like to sum it up, one is you mentioned about flexibility and agility for the organization, then learning and adoption. And I think the third one is a very important point, the networking, the benefits one can draw from networking, learning from experience of others. So Ratan, it's been an absolute pleasure interacting with you today as part of the VDMA CEO's thought leadership. And on behalf of the German Engineering Federation, VDMA, wishing you and the team a lot of success in the future and good business also in India in the years to come, Ratan.
Thank you, Rajesh. And I wish you to stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope we overcome this pandemic together and come out safe and healthy.
Right. And our best wishes for the Ganesh Chaturthi also to you and the family and the teammate also, Ratan.
Thank you, Rajesh. Have a wonderful day.
Right. Thank you. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.